Hi guys, welcome to today's video. So there are so many books being released next year that I'm so excited for. So I made a list and we're gonna go through them. I think there's a lot of books you guys will hopefully also want to read next year and I'm really excited. So I have romance, fantasy romance, just fantasy, and literary fiction. And I think I have 16 books in total. So let's get into it. The first book is Not in Love by Hazelwood. This is another STEM romance. There hasn't been much revealed about the plot at all. And I think she said she's still currently writing it, but it comes out June 24th. I'm very excited. I love Hazelwood. Here's all her books I have. She's one of my favorite authors. I love her books so much and I can't wait for another STEM book by her. And then the next book is Only and Forever by Chloe Lease. This is a romance. This is a part of the Bergman Brothers series. This is the last book in the series. I'm not sure how many books are in the series, maybe 7. But I love that series. I haven't finished it, but I've read 3 books out of the series, I think, and they're like some of my favorite books. This one follows Viggo and Tallulah. Viggo runs a bookstore. He reads romance books. He is like a golden retriever, whereas Tallulah is more of a black cat. And I think they're also roommates. There's also type 1 diabetes and ADHD representation, and it comes out April 9th. I'm so excited. Yeah, I'm so excited for this book. It sounds so good. Nothing Like the Movies by Lynn is the sequel to Better Than the Movies, which is like a very, very popular book. So many people love that book. I'm excited for the sequel because I really liked, my favorite parts of the book were when Wes and Liz were together. It was so sweet. And so I'm excited to see what this sequel is and to see more of their relationship. I'm very excited. It says it's during their college summer break, but we don't get any more information about what it's about. And it comes out October 1st, which is like almost a year away. But anyways, Fangirl Down by Tessa Bailey. This is a sport romance, which I'm pretty sure is Tessa Bailey's first sport romance. I'm really excited. It's also a golf sport romance, which I don't think I've ever heard of. I mean, I didn't know golf could be hot, but maybe it is. I don't know, but I'm intrigued. And in this book, we have the male main character who is like a famous... We have the male main character who's a famous golf player, and then he has this like #1 fan, but I don't think it's in a creepy way. Like I think she's just always, maybe they're friends, but I don't know. From like the synopsis, what I got was that she's always at his games, she's always supporting him, but then he does something wrong and suddenly she's not even at his games. And then he goes to her and asks her to be his caddy, which I think is someone that like helps the golf player, like they carry around their stuff maybe. I'm not sure, but that's a general idea. And then it's also Grumpy X Sunshine. I'm very excited for this book. I like Tessa Bailey's books. I read one of her older books, which I wasn't a fan of, but all her recent ones that have been very popular, I've read and really liked. So I'm excited for this book. And it comes out February 13th. So now moving on to the fantasy. There's so many exciting books coming out. First, Bride by Hazelwood. I'm so excited for that book. It's a vampire and a werewolf. And it's by Hazelwood. I'm like so intrigued about how it's gonna be written because I've only read her STEM romances. I haven't read Checkmate yet, and I'm like, how is a fantasy gonna go? I don't know. I feel like the fantasy is probably gonna be on the lighter side. I feel like it's gonna be more focused on the romance. It's a marriage of convenience, which I don't know how that works in like a fantasy world, but maybe that is a thing. I don't know. But the werewolf, he's like the lead. It says he's the alpha werewolf. Anyways, he's like the leader, and then yeah, we'll have to see how that goes. I'm really excited though. I can't wait to get that book when it comes out. And it comes out February 24th. A Witch's Guide to Magical Innkeeping. This is a sequel to this book. I don't remember the name, but I haven't read it, but I do want to. It sounds really fun. And so the sequel's coming out. I think it follows different characters, and so it's a fantasy romance. And I think female main character gets help from this guy because she's running her family inn, I think. And she also does magic. And the guy she gets help from, they had a one-night stand. And that's all I really know. But it sounds like a fun time, like a cozy fantasy. And it comes out April 2nd. Next we have A Dark and Drowning Tide. This book sounds so good. I'm gonna get up the synopsis so I can read it to you guys. This is also a fantasy romance. It's sapphic and it's academic rivals to lovers. It has fairy tales. It sounds so good. Also, you like the cover. A sharp-tongued folklorist must pair up with her academic rival to solve their mentor's murder in this lush and enthralling sapphic fantasy romance. Lorelei, a folklorist with a quick temper and an even quicker wit, is on an expedition with 6 eccentric nobles in search of a fabled spring. This sounds very like fairy tale-esque and myths and stuff like that. The magical spring promises untold power, which the king wants to harness to secure his reign of the embattled country of Brunstad. It sounds so good. I can't wait. And it comes out September 17th. Anyways, the wait will hopefully be worth it. I'm hoping. So the next book is A Fragile Enchantment by the same author. And this is also a fantasy romance. I'll also get up the little synopsis. A magical dressmaker commissioned for a royal wedding finds herself embroiled in scandal when a gossip columnist draws attention to her undeniable chemistry with the groom. The magic in her blood that lets her stitch emotions and memories into fabric is the same magic that will eventually kill her. She designs a wardrobe for the royal wedding, and Kit, the groom at this wedding, I think it's a marriage of convenience or like something like that, but he doesn't want to be a part of the wedding. He doesn't actually have feelings for who he's marrying. And so him and the female main character, Niam, start getting closer, and there's all these secrets uncovered and magic. It sounds really, really good. And that comes out January 2nd. So that's very soon, and I'm thankful for that. Next we have Emily Wilde's Map of the Other Lands. This is the sequel to Emily Wilde's Encyclopedia of Fairies, which I haven't read yet, but I really want to. That came out, I think, the start of this year, and it's been really popular, and I've always wanted to read it. I just haven't picked it up. But it's like cozy fantasy, I think, with some romance. It's not a lot of romance, and this is the sequel. It follows the same characters, so I think there will be some romance as well, but not a lot, since the characters are already together, I'm pretty sure. But I'm not gonna read the synopsis for this book because I feel like it might spoil what happened in the first book. But I really want to read the first book in the series, and hopefully I like it, and then I can also read this book when it comes out, which it comes out January 16th. Okay, this book is probably like one of my most anticipated releases. After like, I added this book to my list for releases coming up that I'm excited for, but I didn't really read a lot into it. I just saw like a brief summary, like I skimmed a bit of it, and I reread it before I filmed this video, and I am so excited. So we have An Education in Malice, and this is a Camilla retelling. I love Camilla so much. That is one of my favorite fantasy books, one of my favorite classic books, and one of my favorite books ever. Which Camilla, if you don't know, it's the first ever vampire story. It is before Dracula, and it's a sapphic kind of story. I don't think the purpose was to be sapphic, but then people have now read it and can see those themes and stuff, if that makes sense. I love that story so much, and this is a retelling. It also is a bit dark academia, and so I will read you the synopsis so I can give you all the juicy details that made me really excited. Oh, this author wrote A Dowry in Blood. That book is really popular, and I also want to read that book. Deep in the forgotten hills of Massachusetts stands St. Perpetua's College. Isolated and ancient, it is not a place for timid girls. Here, secrets are currency, ambition is lifeblood, and strange ceremonies welcome students into the fold. On her first day of class, Laura Sheridan is thrust into an intense academic rivalry with the beautiful and enigmatic Camilla. Together they are drawn into the confidence of their demanding poetry professor, who holds her own dark obsession with Camilla. But as their rivalry I could say that word before, but now I can't. Rivalry blossoms into something far more delicious. Lara must confront her own strange hungers. Tangled in a sinister game of politics, bloodthirsty professors and dark magic. And this comes out February 15th. So thank God it is earlier than these other books I'm excited for. I can't wait to read that book. I'm so excited. Next we have A Tempest of Tea. This is a YA fantasy book, and I will also read you the synopsis for this one. I feel like I'm reading most of the synopsises for the fantasy books because it's a bit hard to take in all that information and recite it, you know, so I need to like actually read it. This author wrote We Hunt the Flame, which is a really popular witch fantasy romance, I think, and this is a part of a duology. On the streets of White Roaring, Arthur Casimir is a criminal mastermind and collector of secrets. Her prestigious tea room transforms into a legal bloodhouse by dark, catering to the vampires feared by society. But when her establishment is threatened, Arthur is forced to strike an unlikely deal with an alluring adversary to save it, and she can't do the job alone. Calling upon a band of misfits, Arthur formulates a plan to infiltrate the dark and glittering vampire society known as the Aetherium. But not every member of her crew is on her side. And as the truth behind the heist unfolds, Arthur finds herself in the midst of a conspiracy that will threaten the world as she knows it. It says swoon-worthy, so I think this has romance in it, but when I looked it up, it didn't say romance. But this sounds really interesting. I really want to read this. And it comes out February 20th. Next we have The Familiar by Leigh Bardugo. I haven't read any of her books, but I'm hoping to next year. I do have some of them. I really want to read Six of Crows and some other ones, so I'm planning to hopefully read some of her books, and maybe this will be one of them. This synopsis though kind of confuses me. I feel like it's a lot of information. It is also a historical fantasy. In a shabby house on a shabby street in the new capital of Madrid, Lucia uses scraps of magic to get through her days of endless toil as a scullion. But when her scheming mistress discovers a lump of a servant cowering in the kitchen that is actually hiding a talent for little miracles, she demands Lucia use those gifts to better the family's social position. What begins as simple amusement for the bored nobility turns a perilous turn when Lucia garners the notice of Antio Perez, the disgraced secretary to Spanish king. Determined to seize this one chance to better her fortunes, Lucia plunges into a world of seers and alchemists, holy men and hucksters, where the line between magic, science and fraud is never certain. It sounds interesting. I don't know. I think I'm gonna see what people say about it before I read it, but it does sound interesting, and there is a high chance I will pick it up. And this comes out April 9th. Next we have The Book of Love. This is a fantasy romance. Late one night, Laura, Daniel and Mo find themselves beneath the fluorescent lights of a high school classroom, almost a year after disappearing from their hometown, the small seaside community of Loveseed, Massachusetts, having long been presumed dead, which in fact they are. With them in the room is their previously unremarkable high school music teacher, who seems to know something about their disappearance and what has brought them back again. Desperate to reclaim their lives, the three agree to the terms of the bargain their music teacher proposes. They will be given a series of magical tasks while they undertake them. They may return to their families and friends, but they can tell no one where they've been. In the end, there will be winners and losers, but their resurrection has attracted the notice of other supernatural figures, all with their own agendas. This sounds really interesting. I like the aspect of paranormal stuff, the ghosts and stuff. Well, I don't like it a lot. I like it when it's not scary because I am really scared of ghosts and stuff. I don't know. I'm really intrigued by this book and I haven't seen anyone talk about it. And this comes out February 13th. So next we have literary fiction. I only have a few literary fiction books, but these books sounded really interesting to me. First we have The Extinction of Irina Ray. 8 translators arrive at a house in a primeval Polish forest on the border of Belarus. It belongs to the world-renowned author Irina Ray, and they are there to translate her magnum opus, Grey Eminence. But within days of their arrival, Irina disappears without a trace. The translators, who hail from 8 different countries but share the same reverence for their beloved author, begin to investigate where she may have gone while proceeding with work on her masterpiece. They explore this ancient wooded refuge with its intoxicating slime molds and lichens and study her exotic belongings and layered texts for clues. But doing so reveals secrets and deceptions of Irina Ray's that they are utterly unprepared for. Forced to face the differences as they grow increasingly paranoid in this fever dream of isolation and obsession, soon the translators are tangled up in a web of rivalries and desire, threatening not only their work but the fate of their beloved author herself. This sounds really interesting. I think I've said that every time, but I feel like so much is going to happen in this book. It might be very unhinged, maybe. It sounds like a lot, and I'm here for it. I'm really excited. And this comes out March 5th. Next we have Piglet, an up-and-coming cookbook editor at a London publishing house. She's got lovely, loyal friends and a handsome fiancé whose rare-filled family she actually most of the time likes, despite their upper-class extremities. One of the many things Kit loves about Piglet is delicious, unfathomable, elaborate meals she's always cooking. But when Kit confesses a horrible betrayal 2 weeks before they're set to be married, Piglet finds herself suddenly hungry. The couple decides to move forward with the wedding as planned, but as it nears and Piglet balances family expectations, pressure at work, and her quest to make the perfect cake, she finds herself increasingly unsettled, behaving in ways even she can't explain. Torn between a life she always wanted and the ravenousness that comes with not getting what you know you deserve, Piglet is by the day of her wedding, undone, but also ready to look beyond the lies we sometimes tell ourselves to get by. Why do I feel like she starts eating people? Maybe that's not right. Piglet is both an examination of women's sometimes complicated relationship with food and a celebration of the messes life sometimes makes for us. Or maybe this is about having an eating disorder. I'm not sure. It sounds interesting nonetheless. Book cover is what drew me in because it's food. I really want to read this. It comes out February 27th. And the last book we have is Interesting Facts About Space. This author, Emily Austen, also wrote Someday We Will All Be Dead. Is that what it's called? Everyone in this room will someday be dead. I love that book. I rated it 5 stars. Absolutely adored it. Ate it up. This book, I think, has a similar concept. Enid is obsessed with space. She can tell you all about black holes and their ability to spaghettify you without batting an eye in fear. Her one major phobia, bald men. Me too. Like, literally the same person. Like, also, why is that in the synopsis? Is that really part of the book? If it is, I'm really excited because, like, I want to read about her phobia of bald men because, like, I can really relate to that. Anyways, but she tries to keep that one under wraps. When she's not listening to her favorite true crime podcast on a loop, she's serially dating a rotation of women from dating apps. At the same time, she's trying to forge a new relationship with her estranged half-sisters after the death of her absent father. When she oh my god, they use so many big words in these synopsises. When she unwittingly plunges into her first serious romantic entanglement, Enid starts to believe that someone is following her. As her paranoia spirals out of control, Enid must contend with her mounting suspicion that something is seriously wrong with her. Because at the end of the day, there's only one person she cannot run. She can't outrun herself. I loved her other book, like I said. It was so funny. It was so relatable. I feel like it discussed depression, anxiety really well. So I'm very excited for this book. And this comes out January 30th. So those are all of the books I'm really excited for that are coming out next year. I hope you're excited for some of these books too and you add them to your TBR. I can't wait for them to be featured in reading vlogs I make next year. Maybe hauls, I don't know, but I'm really excited. I hope you enjoyed this video. Thank you for watching. I have a bookstagram and a book TikTok linked down below if you want to check those out. And that's all. Thank you for watching. Bye.